boys and girls, as you know, Deadpool 2 is about to be released, and I figured I would put up a review of the first Deadpool. This review will contain spoilers because the original Deadpool came out 2 years ago, so hopefully you've seen it by now. A spoiler warning, so I'm slapping a spoiler warning on for this video. Now, of course, you know I'm going to be talking about how funny this movie is. This movie is hilarious. Right from the credits, right up until the end credits, I'm laughing most of the way through. It doesn't have the most complicated plot in the world. Basically, man gets his face messed up and tries to track down the guy that did it to him to have his face fixed up again. And that's basically the plot, while saving his girlfriend along the way. And of course, Ryan Reynolds is absolutely perfect as Deadpool. It's the role he was meant to play, and I'm so glad that they had an opportunity to have him play the character again for a more faithful adaptation compared to what happened in X-Men Origins Wolverine. Like, his comedic timing is just perfect, and a lot of the lines in the movie are improvised. So he was just perfect for that. And yeah, this is a more faithful adaptation of Deadpool. So lots of fourth wall breaking, lots and lots and lots of jokes, and thankfully it's very violent, so it earned that R rating, and there's boobies in it, so that's always a good thing. And I think there was a lot of chemistry between Morena Baccarin, I'm not saying that right, and Ryan Reynolds. I feel that they had really good chemistry with each other, and I actually thought that their romance was very believable. But the villain, on the other hand, he's not very deep. He's just your run-of-the-mill villain who's evil for the sake of being evil. I will say one thing though, he is excellent at eating an apple like a douchebag. I mean, look at that shit. Look how douchey that is. Just 10 out of 10 for that. And also what confuses me with the villain Ajax, or Francis, whatever you want to call him, apparently he can't feel pain. Like, I'm not sure if he can't feel pain or he just has an extremely high tolerance to it. But he says that he can't feel anything anymore, so that would mean his emotions as well. But he does seem to feel anger and frustration towards Deadpool. But just a little nitpick there. And Tim Miller, I just can't really stand him in any role. Just his monotone voice and his delivery. I will say though that some of it, he did have some good jokes in there, and he's not comedically on par with Ryan Reynolds, I feel, but I will admit some of the jokes that he did say were good. There are so many jokes in this movie. They're just firing one every minute. They're just constantly going. And a movie with so many jokes in them, of course, not all of them hit. Some of the jokes I did feel were a bit meh. Of course, I've watched this movie a couple of times after I've seen it in the movies. You do lose something when you're not watching it at the cinema with a big group of people watching it with you. You do lose something. It's not quite the same when you're sitting at home, alone, in the dark, drinking scotch, thinking about all the past terrible mistakes that you've made in your life. Anyway, but a lot of the jokes do hit home very well. I found it hilarious how Deadpool talks about how how it's hard to keep track of the X-Men universe now. Like when he's talking about the different Professor X's, when he's getting taken by Colossus, he's like McAvoy or Stewart, and I found that hilarious. And also the lack of X-Men that are in this movie, and Hugh Jackman's cameo in the movie was excellent too. Also, another little nitpicky thing is they don't really portray Deadpool when he's becoming aware that he is a comic book character in a movie. After the procedure, he's just starting to talk about how he just starts talking to the audience and referencing all these different things, and it doesn't really show him becoming aware that he's a comic book character in a movie.
That's just lazy writing.
Again, a little nitpick, but I suppose it would be pretty hard to pull off, or they just felt they didn't need it. It didn't really need to be in the movie. Action is fantastic and over the top, as you would expect. The fight choreography I found was really good as well. I always love it when movies have good fight choreography. Although some of the CGI in some movies don't really look that great. If you remember when that Red Band trailer got accidentally leaked online, some of the scenes actually look like it was just taken straight out of that. I know that scene was in the movie, but it looks like they didn't really improve on the CGI that much. The movie is divided up between when it doesn't start off in a linear fashion that Wade Wilson becomes Deadpool. The movie kind of starts out as him already as Deadpool, and he's thinking about how he got to where he is. So it's jumping back and forward between in the present when he's Deadpool and back in the past on how he became Deadpool and when he met his girlfriend. And when those scenes that where he is Wade Wilson and not Deadpool yet, those scenes do go a little bit slower than I would like, and I did find myself just wanting them to jump back forward to when he is Deadpool. And Colossus and Negasonic Teenage Warhead I found were very good characters. Colossus I felt was a very good counterbalance compared to Deadpool. He's very no-nonsense and strict by the book and always doing the right thing. Complete opposite to Deadpool. And Negasonic was a really cool character. I don't think she had those kind of powers before. I think she had telepathy or telekinesis or something. I think she wasn't able to actually charge herself up like a warhead and explode. But she was pretty cool. I wish they had more of her in the movie. Maybe they will in Deadpool 2. I hope they. Also, I thought that they're very lucky that Deadpool's mutant power was regeneration. Like, he had cancer in so many places and was gonna die eventually. If he didn't have that regeneration power, he would have just died, and they would have wasted their time and money on him. And on Deadpool's regeneration, we know that he essentially can't die. Like, I'm pretty sure that... I'm not even sure if decapitation can kill him. But the final fight up against the last of, like, his guards and against Ajax himself, and they're fighting with swords and axes, like, it takes a bit of the tension out when you know your lead character just essentially cannot die. So the pros are, it is funny most of the time, it is very well cast, it is a faithful adaptation of Deadpool, unlike the previous one. Action and choreography is great, and it's rated R, so that means blood and boobies. Cons, TJ Miller, Ajax the villain was pretty average. Not all of the jokes land, and the CGI looks a bit dodged sometimes. Alrighty, that was my review of the original Deadpool. I will be watching Deadpool 2 this week, so I'll have my review up for that within the next couple of days. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys next time.